What if I told you that the future of one of England's most iconic and historically significant football clubs could hinge on just a handful of transfer deals this pivotal summer? Leeds United, a club that has experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in English football, stands at the center of a whirlwind of expectations, pressure, and uncertainty. Having fought tooth and nail to secure their return to the Premier League, Leeds are now racing against both time and their own financial constraints to engineer a squad transformation that could ultimately decide their fate for years to come. The stakes? More than £150 million in potential revenue, the pride of a storied fan base, and the future of a legendary club. But as competition intensifies and money remains tight, the question on every supporter's mind is this: can the Whites really pull off a survival miracle in the world's most unforgiving league? To really understand why the Leeds United transfer window is making headlines not just in England, but across the entire footballing world, we have to rewind the clock and examine the club's extraordinary journey over the past year. Leeds United's path back to the Premier League has been anything but straightforward. After years languishing outside the top flight, suffering heartbreaks, near misses, and financial turmoil, the club's return has been greeted with both jubilation and anxiety. The pressure could not be greater for the club's ambitious new American owners, the 49ers Enterprises, to show that their takeover is about more than just headlines. They are determined to bring a new era of Premier League stability to Elland Road, not just another brief appearance, before slipping back into the shadows of the championship. Behind the scenes, the financial story of Leeds United is a study in both ambition and anxiety. According to financial statements released in June, Leeds are carrying a net debt of approximately £73 million. This comes even after a massive injection of over £140 million from their new owners, a sum intended to stabilize operations and facilitate key transfers. But in the world of modern football, even nine-figure investments are not always enough. Premier League survival is projected to unlock an additional £150 million in revenue. Money that could transform the club's infrastructure, youth development, and long-term competitiveness. Every transfer, every negotiation, every small contract add-on has taken on an outsized significance, with the future of the club hanging in the balance. So what exactly is the plan? Sporting director Adam Underwood and manager Daniel Farke have identified three crucial targets for this transfer window. At the top of their list is Anton Stach, a physically imposing German midfielder valued at about €20 million. Stajic's reputation in the Bundesliga is built on his blend of physicality, tactical discipline, and the ability to control games from the center of the pitch. Next up is Sean Longstaff, Newcastle's hard-running midfield engine, secured for a deal rumored to be worth £12 million in base fee, plus an additional $3 million in performance-based bonuses, much of which depends on Leeds retaining their Premier League status. And finally, the club has set its sights on Gonzalo Garcia, a young Real Madrid striker who captured global attention by lighting up the Club World Cup, despite his tender age. Garcia may only be available on loan, but his potential impact could be transformative for Leeds. These names are not just entries on a shortlist. They represent the difference between survival and yet another relegation heartbreak. To put this in perspective, consider the case of Fulham in recent years. After their promotion to the Premier League, they spent heavily. Yet without a clear strategic plan, their squad failed to gel, and they suffered immediate relegation. Leeds leadership is determined not to repeat those mistakes. As football finance expert Kieran Maguire puts it succinctly, Leeds must balance ambition with financial prudence to comply with financial fair play regulations. This balancing act is even more challenging given the club's financial realities. Even as Leeds agree personal terms with Stalic and prepare to welcome Longstaff, whose Premier League grit and work rate have been praised by pundits like Alan Shearer as exactly what newly promoted teams need, they must simultaneously offload up to 10 players. Big earners such as Jack Harrison are expected to depart, freeing up precious wage space and generating transfer funds. This is not just a matter of preference. It is an absolute necessity to keep their books balanced and avoid running afoul of the Premier League's strict financial fair play rules. But the transfer market is a battlefield, and Leeds are not alone in their ambitions. Across Europe, rival clubs have taken notice. Turkish giants Besiktas, now managed by the charismatic Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, have made no secret of their interest in Anton Stach. Meanwhile, West Ham and Brentford, two established Premier League clubs with their own ambitions, have joined the chase for Gonzalo Garcia. In this ultra-competitive landscape, any sign of hesitation from Leeds could mean losing out on vital reinforcements. As manager Daniel Farke readily admits, We need players who can hit the ground running and deliver immediately. There is no time for adaptation. Survival in the Premier League demands instant impact. As Leeds edge closer to finalizing the Longstaff deal and continue to negotiate the finer points of a transfer for Stasic, supporters are left in a state of anxious anticipation. Will all this wheeling and dealing be enough to assemble a squad capable of not just surviving but thriving in the Premier League's relentless environment? Or are the Whites simply gambling with their future, risking another season of heartbreak and instability? The clock is ticking. With the transfer window narrowing and rival clubs jostling for the same prize signatures, one crucial question looms larger by the day. Will Leeds United's high-stakes summer gamble pay off? Or is the dream of Premier League survival already slipping through their fingers? To truly appreciate the enormity of this moment for Leeds United, it's worth considering the broader context of English football. The Premier League is not just the richest league in the world, it is also the most competitive. Since its inception in the early 1990s, the league has seen numerous clubs rise and fall, some building dynasties, others fading into obscurity. The financial rewards for survival are enormous, but so too are the risks. A single season of relegation can wipe out years of progress, both on and off the pitch. For Leeds United, the stakes could not be higher. Let's imagine, for a moment, the impact if Leeds succeeds in securing all three of their main targets. Picture Anton Stanic, with his imposing 6'4" frame and tactical intelligence, dominating the midfield alongside the tireless running and Premier League experience of Sean Longstaff. Add Gonzalo Garcia's sharp eye for goal, demonstrated on the world stage at the Club World Cup, where he scored 4 times and assisted once in just 6 matches. And suddenly, Leeds boasts a spine strong enough to withstand the pressures of the top flight. As one football analyst put it, signings of this caliber can be the difference between survival and relegation. They transform not just a team, but the entire mood and confidence of a club. But the path to this outcome is fraught with obstacles. West Ham and Brentford are circling for Garcia, each offering their own pitches and financial incentives. Besiktas, newly invigorated under Solskjaer's leadership, are pushing hard for Stasic. Leeds must move quickly and decisively, all while maintaining strict compliance with financial fair play rules and managing the club's £73 million debt. Selling beloved players like Jack Harrison may be painful for fans, but it could be the only way to secure the financial flexibility needed to bring in these transformative signings. The board knows that Premier League status brings with it a potential windfall of more than £150 million, a sum that could fund youth development, stadium improvements, and even further squad investment. Conversely, failure to stay up could mean drastic cost-cutting, the loss of star players, and another lengthy spell outside the top flight. The stakes, both sporting and financial, could not be higher. For fans and viewers, this story is much more than club drama. It serves as a real-time case study in high-stakes decision-making in modern football and business. Survival and growth demand far more than bold investment. They require strategic discipline, the courage to take calculated risks, and an unwavering willingness to adapt. The Leeds United leadership, guided by the financial muscle and business acumen of 49ers Enterprises, wants to build a team that is competitive and sustainable, not just in the short term, but for years to come. The lessons here extend well beyond the world of football. Whether you are leading a business, managing investments, or simply supporting your favorite team, the same principles apply. As football finance expert Kieran Maguire warns, it only takes one misstep to put years of progress in jeopardy. The margin for error is razor thin. Leeds United's situation underscores the importance of balancing ambition with financial risk, of knowing your numbers, and of seizing opportunities when they present themselves. Let's delve a bit deeper into the financial calculations at play. If Leeds United can secure Premier League survival, the club stands to gain a share of the league's lucrative broadcast revenues, commercial deals, and sponsorship agreements. Historical data shows that a single season in the Premier League can generate as much as £150 million in revenue, compared to just a fraction of that in the Championship. This cash influx can pay down debt, fund infrastructure projects, and attract higher-caliber players and staff. Conversely, relegation can trigger a downward spiral, loss of revenue, forced player sales, and a demoralized fan base. The management team at Leeds has studied these dynamics closely. Parag Marathe, a key executive at Leeds United, has emphasized in interviews that the club's goal is not only to survive, but to build a foundation for sustained success. We are committed to building a team and a club that our supporters can be proud of, not just this season, but for generations to come. But the risks are real. If the deals for Anton Stanic and Gonzalo Garcia fall through, Leeds could be left perilously exposed in midfield and attack. Without Stamic's physical presence and tactical discipline, opponents could exploit gaps in the center of the pitch. Without Garcia's finishing ability, Leeds may struggle to convert chances into goals, a fatal flaw in a league where margins are often razor-thin. In such a scenario, the club may be forced to consider last-minute alternatives, perhaps targeting standout players from the championship, or pursuing short-term loan deals with bigger clubs. These fallback options rarely offer the same impact or long-term benefit as carefully scouted signings. It is also important to understand the human side of these negotiations. For the players themselves, joining Leeds United at this moment is a gamble, as well as an opportunity. Anton Stadic, for example, faces the choice of leaving the familiarity of German football for the cut-and-thrust world of the Premier League. Sean Longstaff, departing his boyhood club Newcastle, is taking on the challenge of leading a newly promoted side under intense scrutiny. Gonzalo Garcia, barely into his 20s, must decide whether regular playing time in Yorkshire will advance his development more than staying at Real Madrid and fighting for minutes behind megastars like Kylian Mbappe and Endrick. The complexity of these decisions is amplified by the global nature of the transfer market. Agents, sporting directors, and club executives from across Europe are engaged in a high-stakes chess match, where every move is scrutinized by the media, fans, and rival clubs. A single leak to the press can alter negotiations. A late bid from a competitor can disrupt weeks of planning. The margin for error is minuscule, and the consequences of failure are severe. But there is also hope. Leeds United's history is filled with examples of resilience and reinvention. From their glory days under Don Revie in the 1960s and 70s, to their stunning run to the Champions League semifinals 2 decades ago, to their painful relegations and triumphant returns, the club has always found a way to rise again. The current leadership, drawing on lessons from both football and business, is determined to write a new chapter, one defined by smart investment, long-term vision, and a willingness to adapt to the changing realities of modern football. For those watching from the outside, the Leeds United saga offers practical insights and actionable lessons. First, pressure and opportunity often arrive hand in hand. In moments of uncertainty, taking calculated risks, tempered by a clear plan and a deep understanding of the underlying numbers, can lead to outsized rewards. Whether you are making decisions in the boardroom, on the trading floor, or in your own personal life, it pays to know your numbers, weigh your options carefully, and act decisively when the window of opportunity opens. Second, success in any competitive environment requires both ambition and discipline. Leeds United's leadership is walking a tightrope, balancing the desire to build a squad capable of competing at the highest level with the need to maintain financial stability and compliance with league regulations. This is a lesson that applies to organizations of all kinds. Ambition without discipline leads to disaster, while caution without boldness leads to missed opportunities. Third, adaptability is key. The world of football, like the world of business, is constantly changing. New competitors emerge, regulatory rules evolve, and unforeseen challenges arise. The clubs that succeed are those that can pivot quickly, learn from their mistakes, and embrace innovation. Leeds United's willingness to explore emerging markets, such as the Bundesliga, in search of value, reflects this adaptive mindset. As the deals for Anton Stalic, Sean Longstaff, and Gonzalo Garcia reach their final stages, Leeds fans can only wait and hope. The club's fate hangs in the balance, with the next few weeks set to determine whether this storied institution rises stronger or faces another painful chapter of rebuilding. If the signings are finalized, the odds shift dramatically in Leeds' favor. But nothing is guaranteed, not on the pitch, and certainly not in the transfer market. Every season, stories abound of clubs who missed out on key signings by the slimmest of margins, only to pay the price when the first whistle blows. And here's a secret that most outsiders overlook. Survival in the Premier League is about far more than just star signings or the reputation of a famous manager. It is about building a club culture that embraces risk, adapts to change, and never stops pushing for improvement. Leeds United's future will be written by the moves they make today, both on and off the field. The decisions of this summer will echo for years, shaping not only the fortunes of the players and staff, but also the dreams of generations of fans. If you want to stay on top of the latest twists and turns in global football economics, and see how clubs like Leeds United shape their destinies through bold decisions and calculated risks, make sure to subscribe now. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Would you take the risk in Leeds' shoes, or would you play it safe? Let's debate and learn together, as we witness the drama, strategy, and business of the beautiful game unfold before our eyes. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the fascinating intersection